Thank you to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Hello everyone, welcome back to another devlog for Terra, my sandbox game about building a planet. This past month, I hosted the first ever public playtest of the game. Members of my Discord server got the chance to play the game for the first time, and I learned a lot from the experience, but more on that later. I also improved the game's look even further by adding particle effects, created an in-game screenshot tool, and added more polish and quality of life features as release gets ever closer. The game's grass has come a long way from when it was first added. It gives a sense of movement and life to the planet, and without it, it looks totally barren. But the grass only spawns on, well, grass. Biomes like the desert are totally static. So the first thing I added this month were some ambient particles to the desert and snow biomes. They're subtle, but make quite the difference. You might also notice that the game's colors seem a bit different in this clip, which they are. While working on the new particles, I completely redid all of the game's colors as well as improved the clouds. In order to support the new ambient particles, I had to completely rework the old particle system. Now, all of the particles live fully on the GPU, rather than being generated CPU side, making them much more efficient. With this new system in place, adding new particles became easy. Before creating the actual screenshot button, I had to add some settings to allow the player to customize the look of their planet for the perfect picture. The first setting I created was one that had been requested for a long time, a free camera. Now you can finally get up close and see what your planet looks like from a first-person perspective. Then, I added a simple slider to control the time of day. And finally, I created the in-game screenshot tool. For those of you that have been watching for a while, you might know that my voxel engine supports path tracing, but path tracing has been disabled in Terra for a long time due to there being some strange bugs. But I finally got around to fixing them and added a toggle to turn on path tracing in the game. The difference isn't too noticeable, but I'll continue working on it. The first thing I polished up this month was actually the Steam page. I created a new trailer and all new art. If you like what you see so far, please consider wishlisting the game. It's the best way you can support me. After the new Steam page was finished, I added a ton of quality of life features in preparation for the playtest. last change I made was to the prop rotation. Now you can simply drag your mouse in the direction you want the prop to be oriented. Implementing this was actually a lot more difficult than it looks, and took a lot of linear algebra. A great and free way to learn the type of math needed for game development, as well as a whole lot of other subjects, is the sponsor of this month's video, Brilliant. Brilliant is an interactive online learning platform, and is one of the best ways I know to learn math, computer science, and more. I've personally taken a few of their math courses, and they really help give me an intuitive understanding of the concepts that I just couldn't get at school. Their lessons are engaging and interactive. They focus on practical practice problems that help give you a real-world understanding and intuition, all while feeling fun and polished. They cover a wide range of subjects, from entry-level to advanced. If you want to make games yourself, it's a great way to learn all of the math and computer science necessary, from basic logic to advanced linear algebra. If you want to try it out, click the link in the description or visit brilliant.org/frozine to get a free 30 days. The first 200 of you to visit the link will also get 20% off the annual premium subscription. Thank you again to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. After all the quality of life features were finished, I finally released the game to my Discord server for the first public playtest. The first day or two, it was honestly a bit of a disaster. A ton of players were crashing before they could even get into the game, there were a lot of bugs, and the performance was horrible for many players. But thankfully, things started to improve as the week went on. Most of the crashes turned out to be due to driver issues, and were fixed when players updated their graphics drivers. I also released some patches, fixing some of the bugs and addressing some common concerns. And at the end of it, the playtesters made some really creative and honestly beautiful planets. So a special thank you to everyone who participated. One of the main performance issues players experienced was due to the game's water. The water in Terra is made up of multiple layers of transparent voxels with different colors. This means that Array has to step through each and every one of them, whereas if the water were solid, it could just stop on the first one. So to address this issue, I completely reworked the water to use a rasterization-based technique, so it doesn't slow down the ray tracing. It's still a work in progress, but the performance increased dramatically for scenes that have a lot of water, so overall it was a success. Even though the playtest is over now, I got so many suggestions and ideas from the playtesters that I'll be busy for a while, so thank you again to everyone. That's all I have for this month. Over the next few months, I'm going to be polishing up the game even more and preparing for release, as well as focusing more on marketing. This whole experience has taught me a lot about how to actually finish a game, beyond just programming. So thank you all for sticking around and encouraging me to keep improving. See you next time.